Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Broadcast Space. Today, we will look into reports that actress Lori Loughlin is sentenced to 2 months in federal prison. We very much value your opinion on this, so please let us know in the comments. Loughlin also will serve 2 years of supervised release, during which she must perform 100 hours of community service and pay a fine of $150,000, according to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts. She was sentenced just hours after Giannulli, who received 5 months in prison, a $250,000 fine, 2 years of supervised release and 250 hours of community service. Both must surrender to the U.S. Bureau of Prisons before 2 p.m. on November 19. Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman are two contrasting faces in the college admissions scam. The sentencing brings an end to the saga for Giannulli and Loughlin, who became the face of the college admissions scandal, and are arguably the parents with the highest profile who admitted to paying the scheme's mastermind, William Rick Singer, $500,000 to get their daughters into the University of Southern California. "I went along with a plan to give my daughters an unfair advantage in the college admissions process," Loughlin said during her virtual sentencing hearing. "In doing so, I ignored my intuition and allowed myself to be swayed from my moral compass. I thought I was acting out of love for my children. But in reality, it only undermined and diminished my daughter's abilities and accomplishments." She said she now understood that her decision helped exacerbate existing inequalities in society. "While I wish I could go back and do things differently, I can only take responsibility and move forward," she said as her voice cracked and she began to cry. "I am truly, profoundly and deeply sorry," she said, using both hands to wipe tears from her face. "I'm ready to face the consequences and make amends." An insurance executive who introduced Loughlin to Singer has agreed to plead guilty to federal charges for paying a man to help his daughter cheat on the ACT. As part of the case, federal prosecutors said. Mark Hauser, 59, of Los Angeles, will enter a guilty plea to 1 count of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and 1 count of honest services mail fraud, a news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts said Friday. Prosecutors are recommending a sentence of 6 months in prison, 1 year of supervised release, a fine of $40,000. Hauser is the 56th parent to be charged in the case. A plea hearing will be scheduled at a later date. Rob Fisher, an attorney for Hauser, said his client had no role with the Giannulli investigation and is not a cooperator for the government. Loughlin gained fame on Full House. Loughlin, best known for her portrayal of Aunt Becky on the sitcom Full House, and Giannulli, a fashion designer, pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, taking advantage of what Singer referred to as his side door into the university by creating fake profiles for the girls and passing them off as recruits on the crew team. "I deeply regret the harm that my actions have caused my daughters, my wife and others," Giannulli said during his virtual sentencing hearing. "I take full responsibility for my conduct. I'm ready to accept the consequences and move forward with the lessons I've learned from this experience." Lori Loughlin and Mossimo Giannulli plead guilty in college admissions scam. Loughlin and Giannulli were among the defendants who initially pleaded not guilty and were willing to roll the dice in court. But the couple changed their pleas in May and hammered out a deal with prosecutors. Loughlin pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, and Giannulli pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud and honest services wire and mail fraud. During the hearings Friday, U.S. District Judge Nathaniel Gorton addressed both defendants, telling Loughlin that he believed her statement was sincere, but pointed to what he described as her fairy tale life. "Yet you stand before me a convicted felon, and for what? For the inexplicable desire to grab more," Gorton said. "To have whatever prestige and instant gratification that comes from being able to show off the admission of your daughters to a preferred university." Earlier in the day, Gorton told Giannulli that he certainly did know better. "You were not stealing bread to feed your family," Gorton said. "You have no excuse for your crime. And that makes it all the more blameworthy." Loughlin had less active role in scheme, U.S. Attorney says. Federal prosecutors on Tuesday formally asked for the sentences for Loughlin and Giannulli. Prosecutors wrote that the evidence suggests Giannulli was the more active participant, while Loughlin took a less active role but was fully complicit. He engaged more frequently with Singer, directed the bribe payments to USC and Singer, and personally confronted his daughter's high school counselor to prevent the scheme from being discovered, brazenly lying about his daughter's athletic abilities, wrote U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling of Massachusetts in the detention memo released on Tuesday. Loughlin took a less active role, but was nonetheless fully complicit, eagerly enlisting Singer a second time for her younger daughter, and coaching her daughter not to say too much to her high school's legitimate college counselor, lest he catch on to their fraud. Because of the type of plea agreement that Loughlin, Giannulli and prosecutors entered into, the judge had little wiggle room to veer off the agreed-upon deal. "The case went south on the prosecutors," said CNN legal analyst Ely Honig, who referenced exculpatory evidence that Loughlin's defense attorneys argued proved that she and Giannulli thought they were donating to a legitimate business. Those documents were potentially devastating to the prosecution's case and massively reduced the prosecutor's chance at getting a conviction at trial. Word of the evidence came to light in December, when Loughlin and Giannulli's attorneys argued that iPhone notes from Singer's mobile device alleged that FBI agents spoke aggressively to him about his recorded calls with defendants, and they alleged investigatory misconduct. They also argued that prosecutors had not handed over this evidence quickly enough, only 8 months before an October trial, and that they did not have enough time to prepare. Couple could have faced up to 20 years in prison. Gordon denied a motion to dismiss the charges and said the evidence could be debated at trial. Gordon also wrote in his decision that the defense had enough time and that the failure to turn over the notes was irresponsible and misguided, not willful, because of prosecutors' imprudent underestimation of the context, relevance and potential exculpatory nature of the notes. Still, the exculpatory evidence opened the door for a good deal for Loughlin and Giannulli, Honig said. There's always a risk of going to trial. If she had gone to trial and been convicted, she would have gotten slammed sentencing-wise, the legal analyst said. It's a deal that I think makes sense both ways but reflects the fact that the prosecutor's case really took an unexpected turn. So far, 55 defendants have been charged in connection with the college admissions scandal, and of those, 41 have either pleaded guilty or agreed to plead guilty, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Of those, 28 parents, including Loughlin and Giannulli, initially pleaded not guilty. 20 parents have been sentenced, while 13 others, including coaches, administrators, members of Singer's group and Mark Riddle, the expert test taker, have pleaded guilty or agreed to plead guilty. Actress Felicity Huffman, the other high-profile parent to be charged in the crime scheme, pleaded guilty and spent 11 days in jail. She was released in October and has not spoken publicly about the incident. Huffman, who accepted responsibility from the onset, was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani, who is also regarded as more lenient in her sentencing, according to courtroom insiders. Loughlin and Giannulli entered into what is known in the federal system as a C plea. The plea takes away the judge's power to deviate from the terms that have already been agreed upon. If Gordon, known for being tough with sentencing, accepts the plea in court, which he's expected to do, then he also agrees to accept the C plea. Fisher, who represented John Vandermeer, the former Stanford sailing coach who pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges in the college admissions scam, described Gordon as stern but fair. He's one of the heavier sentences, Fisher said. If Loughlin and Giannulli had gone to trial and been convicted, they could have faced up to 20 years in prison for the conspiracy charge, prosecutors said. With her guidelines, she could have been looking at significantly more time after trial, Fisher said. 2 months is going to be a significant deviation from the original sentencing guidelines. In mid-February, Lori and Mossimo's attorney Sean Berkowitz tried to get their trial date pushed back to February 2021, though federal prosecutors wanted to begin in October of this year. The lawyer argued that they would not be ready to go to trial until next year because of substantial evidence and the general complexity of the case, according to documents obtained by USA Today. Of course, the judge will be the one who ultimately decides when the trial will begin. But shortly after, the couple's legal team filed a motion to postpone setting a trial date altogether, per CNN. The defense attorneys stated that the government was trying to benefit from withholding information, while working to force trial as quickly as it can. The information in question included iPhone notes that William recorded in October 2018 during the discovery process. Lori and Mossimo's lawyers argued that the government should have notified them about the notes. In April, prosecutors released photos that allegedly showed Olivia and Bella pretending to be rowers to help secure their admission into USC. In the pictures, Lori and Mossimo's daughters are dressed in workout clothes on an erg machine. Neither Olivia nor Bella had participated in rowing previously. The court documents filed by the FBI also included email correspondence between Mossimo and William in which they discussed staging the photos to sell the lie. Most recently, U.S. District Judge Nathaniel Gordon, who is presiding over Lori and Mossimo's case, said he was disturbed by allegations that the couple's attorneys had made against prosecutors. Specifically, the pair's legal team asked the judge to dismiss the case altogether, citing notes where William said investigators instructed him to bend the truth and tell a fib in order to retrieve responses that are not accurate, according to court documents obtained by NBC News. The attorney's documents further claim that agents used this tactic because other evidence showed that the defendants believed their payments were legitimate donations. The judge responded by saying the allegations in Williams' notes were serious and disturbing and has asked prosecutors for an explanation. The judge, however, ultimately denied the couple's request to have their case dismissed. While all of this has been going on, Lori and Mossimo have avoided making notable public appearances. They were last seen on August 27 while at the John Joseph Moakley U.S. Courthouse in Boston, Massachusetts, for a hearing. Unlike Lori's previous visit to court where she was seen signing autographs on the courthouse steps, Lori and Mossimo slipped in through the back door. As People reported, Lori's life is looking much different nowadays. In the wake of the scandal, she was dropped from all her Hallmark Channel projects, including her role playing Abigail on When Calls the Heart. In addition, she is not coming back for the 5th and final season of Netflix's Fuller House. When it comes to Lori's family life though, it seems like her daughters are both on their mum's side. For this past Mother's Day, both Olivia and Bella took to Instagram to share tributes to Lori. "You are my best friend and have held my hand every day for 20 years, making it look like motherhood is an easy job. You are one of a kind. I love you so much and cannot wait to give you all the love in the world today and forever," Olivia wrote. Meanwhile, Bella shared her own kind words about her mum. "The strength mothers have is unparalleled. I think they might be the closest thing we have to superheroes. Happy Mother's Day, Mama, I love you. I'm so proud to be your daughter today and every day." Back in December, Olivia directly addressed the scandal on YouTube. In the clip, she explained that she's not legally allowed to speak on anything going on right now. "There's no point in me just talking for 10 minutes to the camera about how I wish I can say something when I really can't, so I'm going to leave it at that," Olivia explained, adding that she wants to move on with her life and take smaller steps in the right direction. Full House star Bob Saget made it clear where he stands after Lori Loughlin's scandal. He even brought up Candace Cameron Bure's speech to drive home his point. Loaded, 48.60% remaining time -2 to 47. Ever since news broke that Lori Loughlin was charged in the massive nationwide college admissions scandal, her fellow Fuller House co-stars have been relatively quiet on the matter. But now, Bob Saget is telling the world how he really feels about the whole thing. Bob, who has been working with Lori since 1987, made it clear when TMZ stopped him in Beverly Hills last Thursday that he still very much cares for his co-star, despite her alleged involvement. "You love who you love in your life. I just love who I love," Bob said. Candace Cameron Bure said it really good at the Kids' Choice Awards. "You love who you love." When asked if he still supported Lori, he added, "I'm on the team of people that I love, but life's complicated. I don't like talking about it." Bob was referencing the message Candace Cameron Bure delivered after she accepted an award for Favorite Funny TV Show at the Kids' Choice Awards in late March. There, she made it pretty clear that she was still standing behind Lori. "Family sticks together no matter what," Candace said, alongside her co-stars Jodie Sweetin and Andrea Barber. "They stick together through the hard times. They support each other. They encourage one another. They pray for each other, and they stand by their side no matter how tough it gets. And a loving family that sticks together also celebrates the really good times together." In light of the indictment against Lori and her husband, Mossimo Giannulli, Lori was promptly dropped by Hallmark. Days later, reports that she was not returning to play Aunt Becky in the 5th and final season of Fuller House also surfaced. Lori Loughlin professionally, Loughlin has kept up a steady career as an actress, notably starring in over a dozen garage sale mystery TV movies in the past few years. The IMDb synopsis is, admittedly, intriguing. Jennifer Shannon is an antique store owner who has a keen eye for more than just collectibles. Much to her husband's dismay, her creative abilities often lead her into fatal situations. Loughlin met her husband, fashion designer Mossimo Giannulli, at a Los Angeles restaurant, per The Hollywood Reporter. The couple eloped in Newport Beach 2 years later, on a Thanksgiving Day in 1997. They had their 2 daughters, Isabella Rose and Olivia Jade Giannulli, in 1998 and 1999 respectively. Mossimo Giannulli's career began in earnest after he dropped out of USC, the very place he would later allegedly bribe his daughter's way into. He had launched his eponymous affordable fashion line, Mossimo, a year before leaving school in 1986. With a $100,000 loan from his father, Giannulli grew his men's streetwear business, eventually going public on the New York Stock Exchange in 1996, after which the company's valuation reached $275 million. In 2000, Giannulli worked with Target to get his wares on the retailer's shelves. That prosperous deal lasted until 2017, many years after Giannulli sold the company in 2006. Giannulli has one son, Gianni Jean Giannulli, from a previous marriage. Isabella, the elder daughter of Loughlin and Giannulli, has been pursuing a career in acting. She's appeared in 2 Christmas-themed TV movies alongside her mother, Homegrown Christmas and Every Christmas Has a Story. Like her sister, Isabella is active on social media. She's racked up over 261,000 followers on her Instagram, although it's currently set to private. In an interview last year, Loughlin hinted that Isabella might enjoy acting more than academics. "She just finished her first year of college and she really enjoys it and I think she'll get her degree," Loughlin told Salon. "And I just said to her, look, have some backup plan. Get a degree and something else. You can study theater and whatever you need to also at school. I think I've shown her and presented all the pitfalls that there might be. The year before, Isabella and her mother went on the Today Show and discussed her post-college acting plans. When asked what type of work she was hoping for, Isabella told the hosts, "I just love all of it. I'd be happy to do anything." She also mentioned that Loughlin had helped me with so many auditions also, which is so nice. This content is imported from third party. You may be able to find the same content in another format, or you may be able to find more information at their website. As the Justice Department indictment recently alleged, acting wasn't the only thing Isabella's parents helped her with. In April 2016, her father emailed William Singer, the man at the center of the current scandal, according to documents filed by the Justice Department. "We just met with our older daughter's college counselor this AM," he wrote. "I'd like to maybe sit with you after your session with the girls, as I have some concerns and want to fully understand the game plan and make sure we have a roadmap for success as it relates to our daughter and getting her into a school other than ASU. If you want USC, I have the game plan ready to go into motion," Singer replied, per the court documents. "Call me to discuss." Isabella's parents and Singer allegedly worked to get Isabella classified as a recruit for the crew team, despite the fact that she had no interest or experience in the sport. To pull it off, Loughlin and Giannulli reportedly paid $50,000 to bribe Donna Heinel, a senior associate athletic director at USC, and $200,000 to Singer's foundation. They would reportedly reprise this strategy to get their younger daughter admission to USC as well. Olivia Jade Giannulli. Compared to her aspiring actress sister, Olivia seems more interested in playing herself. The social media influencer has racked up nearly 2 million YouTube subscribers and 1.3 million Instagram followers to date. She's worked with numerous big-name brands on sponsored posts, and even collaborated with Sephora on a makeup palette, which promises to help customers achieve your ideal Olivia Jade glow. In the wake of the scandal, Sephora terminated its relationship with the social media star, as have Tresemme and other brands. Her chosen side hustle has left a lot of information online about what her college aspirations, or lack thereof, were before starting at USC. In one, now removed, YouTube video, Olivia noted what she hoped to get out of the undergrad experience. "I do want the experience of like game days, partying," she said. "I don't really care about school, as you guys all know." Her YouTube fans quickly pointed out that her comments sounded privileged, ignorant, and spoiled, prompting her to backtrack in a later video, per the BBC. Another post that hasn't aged well, a tweet from August 2016, in which Olivia writes, "College prep is the worst thing ever." This content is imported from Twitter. You may be able to find the same content in another format, or you may be able to find more information at their website. Still, she seems to have put more effort into test prep than the actual application process. In December of 2017, Loughlin emailed Singer with Olivia in CC, according to court documents. "Our younger daughter has not submitted all her college's SIC apps and is confused on how to do so," Loughlin wrote. "I want to make sure she gets those in, as I don't want to call any attention to her with our little friend at her high school. Can you tell us how to proceed?" Per the Justice Department's filing, Singer responded by directing one of his employees to submit the applications on Olivia's behalf. During her time at USC, Olivia has leveraged her college career for sponsored Instagram posts, including one with Amazon Prime that's drawn a lot of attention as of late. The photo shows Olivia perched on a well-decorated dorm bed, not long after she started at USC. Officially a college student, the caption reads, "It's been a few weeks since I moved into my dorm and I absolutely love it. I got everything I needed from Amazon with a Prime student and had it all shipped to me in just 2 days. Will Amazon deliver your diploma too?" one commenter asked. Lori Loughlin's short jail sentence has a glaring problem that people are pointing out. A ring of wealthy parents were involved. It emerged that the likes of actors Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin had paid cash in order to falsify details about their children so they could be accepted to prestigious universities. In Huffman's case, she paid $15,000 to have someone boost her daughter's SATs, without the knowledge of her child. Loughlin and her husband Mossimo Giannulli paid $500,000 to ensure her 2 daughters were accepted into the University of Southern California, including falsifying pictorial evidence that her daughters were rowing athletes. And now the couple have finally been sentenced after a drawn-out legal battle. Loughlin will be spending 2 months in jail, with a further 2 years under supervised release. She'll also have to serve 100 hours in community service and pay a $150,000 fine. But as people are pointing out, this isn't exactly in keeping with other legal precedents set, especially in the sentencing of black individuals for similar offenses. In 2012, Tanya McDowell, a black woman, was sentenced to 5 years in prison on several charges, including felony larceny for falsifying her address so she could send her son to what was considered a better school in a different district. While there are some differences between her and Loughlin's charges, the cases are similar enough that people are drawing obvious comparisons and asking questions. Like why a rich white woman who went to such lengths to cheat the fair process got such a lighter sentence. There's also been comparisons to other cases featuring black mothers. Like Crystal Mason, a mother of 3 who got 5 years in prison for voting when she was unaware those with prior felonies weren't allowed to. Or Kelly Williams Bowler, who was initially sentenced to 5 years in prison, later suspended to 10 days, for using her father's address so her daughters could attend school in a better area. Basically, Loughlin's sentencing isn't sitting well, especially with people even more attuned to racial and financial inequalities in the wake of Black Lives Matter. It's been dubbed systemic racism. There's calls to extend the same leniency to the less privileged. Well, now there's a precedent to cite. What do you think about the whole situation? Let us know in the comments. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, hope you have a fantastic day.